One thing I get asked quite often is, which custom 1911 should I buy? Which one is going to be best for me? You know, that might sound like a complicated question, but in reality, I think that's something that's really easy to figure out. Before we get started here, I want to remind everyone to subscribe and sign up for all notifications on this channel. This channel is restricted by YouTube, so I'm counting on you to help us survive YouTube's anti-2A bias. Hey everybody, Yankee here. As I just said, every once in a while someone comes to me, especially in a live chat, like tonight, it happened tonight, and they ask me, of the big custom 1911 makers, the most common ones, which one is the best one? Which one should I buy? Well, you know, there is no best one. They all kind of do the same thing differently. But I think there is an easy way for most people to figure out which of the big custom 1911 makers, which one is the one for them. Now, I'm not including things like Cabot in this because, you know, there are some 1911s you can buy that are just above and beyond, you know, like the Jesse James and stuff like that. You know, you're going beyond getting the best gun you can get and you're getting into, I want a statement piece. You know, I want something made of meteorite or made by a famous Nazi or whatever. So I'm just going to stick to the big four, and in my mind, the big four are Wilson Combat, Nighthawk, Ed Brown, and of course, Les Baer. Now you might be thinking, well, it's going to be really hard to figure out which gun is best for me. They make different models and all this other stuff, but I actually don't think it's that hard to figure out. If you just think of a pyramid, you know, a triangle, one of those ones that it's a triangle and it has a line come from each point that kind of intersects in the center. If you think of that, and then you think of there being a different type of guy at each corner. On one corner, there's a blacksmith. On another corner, there's a businessman. And then on the final corner, there's a soldier. You just have to decide which of these guys do you most associate with. Are you the craftsman, the guy who cares more about function over form? Are you the soldier? Do you want something that's a little more tactical, a little more ready to get up and go? Or are you the businessman? Maybe you're a little more refined. Maybe you wear suits every day. You might associate with the soldier if you're the kind of guy that likes AR-15s and ACOGs. If you're far more likely to own those than you are a lever action, you might associate more with the soldier. If you're someone who's far more likely to wear a Rolex than they are to ever wear an Apple Watch, you know, or a cashmere jacket, then you might associate more with the businessman. And if you're the kind of guy, like I said, that likes things more simple, maybe even more primitive, maybe you're the kind of guy that would rather drive a muscle car than a sports car, well, then you would associate more with the craftsman, the blacksmith. Now, before we actually start talking about the guns themselves, and remember, all four of these guns are top-notch when it comes to quality, operation, reliability, etc. They are all great in that category. You're not going to get much better than any of these guns, so don't worry about that. It's the other factors that are going to matter for this comparison. Now that you've decided which one of these characters you most identify with, it's easy to pick which of the 1911s is best for you. If you associate with the soldier, you're going to want the more tactical 1911, the one that's more built around combat. And that's the Wilson Combat. That's probably going to be the better custom 1911 for you. If you're the more refined Rolex wearing businessman, you're going to like finer things. And you're going to want the Ed Brown. It's by far the more gentlemanly, more fine society type of 1911. This gun is finished to the hilt. It is a beautiful gun. And if you associate more with the blacksmith, then you're probably going to want the gun that's more function over form, simpler, more primitive even, and that would be the Les Baer. I myself lean towards more liking the primitive designs. I kind of favor the Les Baer. But you know, I don't really identify totally with any of these characters. And if you don't, well, the answer to which 1911 is best for you is probably pretty easy too. Because if you want one that embodies all these things, let's say you're a Rolex wearing businessman driving his muscle car around with his AR-15 with an ACOG on it in the trunk, well, then the gun for you might be the one that kind of brings together all the features of these guns, just at less of a level. You know, it's not turned up to 10 on one different category. It's kind of a 5 on all of them. And that would be the Nighthawk. The Nighthawk is kind of the best of all three worlds, and that's what I actually buy. Because even though I lean more towards the less bears, I also like something fancy. I like something purty. And I do want some of the more tactical elements too. So the Nighthawk turned out to be the best one for me, might be the best one for you. Or, like I said, could be one of the other three. If you lean more towards the soldier, or the businessman, or the blacksmith, that should answer which one's better for you. Right there, that should be at least a good starting point. And if you decide you don't fully identify with any of them, well, then you always got that middle ground, the Nighthawk. So when you think of it like that, it actually makes it pretty easy to choose from the 4 big manufacturers of custom 1911s. You just have to decide what kind of guy are you and what are you wanting. And then you can compromise if you want to and go more towards the middle. But if you're one of the people that likes one of the extremes more than the others, well, one of those guns is for you. And like I said, if you like to compromise, maybe the Nighthawk is for you. It really comes down to who you are and what you want.